Again,
Yes, yes.
another week. I'm your host, Jason Flake. My co host, Lance Reynolds, aka the People's Champ.
What up, though?
Man, we got a lot of topics to cover, man. So much to do, so little time.
A special edition, no
Yeah,
less.
special edition. We here on Tuesday instead of Thursday, um, just to keep the people up to date on what is happening in the wide world of sports. I do want to start out by thanking everybody again, man, hitting the social sites for the engagement. We coming up on 50,000 views on the YouTube channel, which is outstanding. Continue to engage with us. Continue to check the timelines for new content. When you go to that YouTube channel, remember to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification. And when you hit that bell notification, make sure you hit all so that you get all of the video updates, all of the shorts, and obviously a notification when we go live. Thank you so much, so much, so much for the continued support.
Yes, indeed. Appreciate the love, y'all.
And man, I think the hot topic today is, um, believe it or not, the WNBA,
Yeah.
which is something that I never thought I'd say in my lifetime. But the WNBA, particularly the rivalry that continues to brew between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, obviously the opening day of the WNBA season, there was a game between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever.
I mean,
Caitlin Clark,
wasn't much of a game, but
well,
yeah.
yeah, Caitlin Clark committed a hard foul on Angel Reese. I believe that took place in the third quarter.
Hmm.
Angel Reese took exception to it. It was allegedly a retaliation for a hard foul that Angel Reese committed on a Indiana Fever player. I'm not entirely in the loop,
Yeah.
about exactly what, because I didn't get a chance to watch the game in its entirety. But I'm just going by what I've heard thus far. But you can give me your impressions, man, on the rivalry, on the continued animosity or seeming animosity, and then Robert Griffin III made some comments saying
Oh,
that
man.
Angel Reese clearly doesn't like Caitlin Clark, and as if he would know. But I'll take your thoughts on it, man, before I expound further.
All right, man. So, all right. So, like, we're going there on this one.
I mean, man, go right there. You
Okay.
listen, man. This is everybody has one.
Yeah,
You
you're
go
right.
wherever you want to go.
Yeah, true. Okay. So, first off, the idiot that watched the entire game, me.
No, man, listen, that's great.
No, I do.
More,
I mean, I watch pretty much the WNBA like a lot. I think I'm shit. We missing the game now.
hmm
Paige and Caitlin, I believe it's Indiana and Dallas
yeah,
happening right now. So I'll have to catch the replay of that. But I mean, hey, I'm a fiend. What can I say? But as it pertains to this, I mean, first thing, Clark and Reese, they don't like each other, and I mean that's
yeah,
okay. I mean, I don't think it's like beef in the street. I don't, you know what I
no,
mean. I don't think it's, or you know what I mean. I don't think it's on that tip, but like on the court,
yeah,
I don't think they like each other, and I mean, I don't think they want to be friends, and I don't really think that's a big deal.
right.
Um, as for the play, I think it was just a hard take foul.
I do too.
Me personally, I just think
I
it.
didn't even think it was flagrant
No,
looking at it,
no, it was a take foul.
but I understand why they called it flagrant because they don't want the game to get out of
Yeah,
control. But
but and my whole thing is, and I mean, I know this is messed up, but I mean, Angel Reese is shooting under 40% from the field, dog. So I wouldn't have fouled her
right,
because she might have missed it.
it's a
Just
good
being
chance.
real. I
Yeah,
mean, I
yeah,
mean,
from an analytical
yeah, I
standpoint,
mean,
for
I'm just
sure.
being real. Like, you probably could have just said boo and she'd have missed it. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, that's neither here nor there. But I mean, when they say like Reese overreacted, I mean, I would say yeah, just for the simple fact that the person that she doesn't like fouled her.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like when a person that you don't like does anything aggressive towards you,
Yeah,
like give me one reason.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
So I mean, everybody's been in a position, whether it's been at school or at your job or wherever,
Yeah,
where it's that person where it's like, man, you know what? This dude got
yeah.
one time, a
Everybody
half
don't
a
like
time.
everybody.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like they got one time, and I swear I'm gonna go in this shit. I mean, everybody got that. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
no doubt.
So, I mean, I think that was that instance. But I mean, We'll get to RG3, but
Yeah.
I want to talk about with Clark and Reese. Um, there are a lot of people like hitching on to just those two players
Sure.
and just co-opting it into podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
um, whatever takes you want to, you want to put,
Yeah.
um, political pundits,
Yeah.
like all of it. And it's like, um, if you really want to find out like where like the real super petty racists are online, like
Mm-hmm.
sport fans,
Yeah.
go to a post about Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, I know. It gets
Dude,
very
they
personal.
and it's not all their fans.
Right.
Like, like I hate the fact that again we have to reiterate like common sense points,
Sure.
but we have to. Nothing's a monolith. Not all of Caitlin Clark's fans are racist.
No.
It's too many of them that are,
Yeah.
but one racist is too many.
There's a faction.
You,
Yeah.
you, you
There's
get
a
what I'm
faction
saying?
of the fan base.
And not all Angel Reese fans, are just a bunch of loud yelling folks that just, want to just support her because she's black.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And there's a lot that do, and either and if that's what they want to do, that's their right to do.
Yeah.
Just as it's your right to be racist. I mean, it's not cool, but it's your right. And if you come across the wrong person, you'll get set right.
Yeah. That's
And
right.
that's how that goes. But I've seen some comments, bro, dude, entire videos
Mm-hmm.
dedicated to just tearing Angel Reese to like shreds, bro.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, and it's just like out of hand. Like in terms of on the court, Caitlin's a better player.
Yeah, currently.
Yeah, I mean, she just, um, Caitlin Clark's going to compete for MVPs for the foreseeable future in
Yeah.
the WNBA.
With all likelihood. Yeah.
Like, I mean, she was like number 3 or 4 in MVP voting last year as a
Mhm.
rookie. And just the attention that she draws to the sport,
Sure.
her style of play.
Mm-hmm.
They're now building a team around her
Yeah.
because now the Fever have a squad. Like
Mhm.
they got a squad now. They're positioning her, and it looks like she's going to deliver.
Yeah.
On the claim of the championship. Now, I mean, Angel Reese is a good player,
Yeah.
but she's not as polished offensively as Caitlin is.
Not at all.
And
No.
her team isn't as good. Like the Chicago Sky is like terrible, bro.
Mhm.
They're terrible, and I don't think their coach is doing her any favors putting her at point forward either. Like I don't get that, but I find the rhetoric around the two very disturbing, and I find it annoying how the mainstream media kind of tap dances around it.
Yeah.
It's like when people mention it, everybody like kind of gaslights it. Like, oh, they're playing a race card. It's like, no. They're the way to acknowledge, what's happening
Yeah.
while, also not ignoring, the entire scope
Right.
of the situation.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And, that's my whole thing about it. It's just getting kind of tired. It's like, just let's like kind of keep it on the court.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, with social media
Yeah.
and what we do being basically the form now that people get their information.
Sure.
I mean, it's going to continue for the foreseeable future, and I mean, it's sad, you know what I
Yeah.
mean. But I mean, dude, I've seen and read some things, in
Oh
these
yeah.
things,
It's disgusting.
and it's just like, and then like I said, it goes both ways. Like I've seen some stuff where, like Caitlin, I have like a legitimate like trip dub or a play or something,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go through the comments like, ex black player did this tonight.
Right.
Okay, and
Yeah.
it's
I
a
mean,
whole league full of black players and white players. Like, let's just stop that. Like, just watch the game and just shut up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what, man? I'm gonna take a different tact.
All right.
The Angel Reese Caitlin Clark rivalry is exactly what the WNBA needs. I mean, even with, forgive me for saying, but even with the racial overtones, with the factionalized fan bases, I think that all of that is ultimately good for the WNBA because it gets people talking. It's a topic of conversation. You know, a sports podcast is leading with that.
Right.
Not only that, people outside of the sports spaces that are just commentators on social issues are taking up this conversation, and it is what the WNBA needs. I mean, let's be real, right? The NBA, when Magic and Bird came in, and I hate to do the Magic and Bird correlation.
Yeah, 'cause-
Um,
yeah. I mean, I get it, but they're not. I mean, Magic and Bird were closer in terms of player than these two.
That's true. Even though Angel Reese has done more winning than Caitlin Clark
In
at the
college.
college level.
Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, they both were just rookies. And Angel Reese, you know, for all of her misgivings, is the fastest woman player to 450 points and 450 rebounds.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, Caitlin Clark's a better player. Than
She
her.
is.
And I mean, this
She is.
like this is.
I
I mean,
agree.
it's like it's not close.
I agree. But the point is that early in their career, they're both doing historic things.
Right, for sure. I mean, I agree with
and
that.
it is a rivalry that has bled over from college.
Right. Now that analogy in terms of Magic Bird, I
Yes,
do agree.
right.
Yes, for sure. Yes.
But the point that I'm attempting to make is that the NBA got popular when the rivalries were nasty. People didn't like each other, which is the very impression that we get from this
I agree.
rivalry right here. Bird and Magic didn't like each other. It's a sort of a famous hearsay type of story that before Game 6 of the NBA Finals, Magic asked one of the Lakers officials to go and get him the Rookie of the Year voting because he wanted to see it. And Bird won in a landslide. Magic only got 3 votes for the Rookie of the Year, and then he went out and filling in for Kareem, scored 42, grabbed 13 rebounds and 7 assists, and took the Finals MVP.
Right.
Because he looked up that Rookie of the Year voting and was offended that he got so few votes because there was an actual rivalry between them, and you could tell that they didn't like each other. But beyond that, let's move beyond that. Bird and Isaiah didn't like each other.
Right. Isaiah and Jordan still don't like each other.
Isaiah and Jordan didn't like each other. The Knicks and the Bulls had a heated rivalry. So these things were very personal.
Right.
And you could feel the personal tension.
Right. Yes.
And that's what made the NBA popular. That's when the ratings were at an all-time high. Contrast that with the way that the league is now. It's a lot, everybody's buddies. Nobody, there's no rivalries. You always talk about the competitiveness.
Yes.
You had the thing about Steph Curry and LeBron.
Yes.
Like they should be at each other's throats.
Yes. But again, like I say, but they're competing. That rivalry was born of competing for titles.
Yes, sure.
Kalen and Angels was born off competing for the national title.
For national
So what
championship, yeah.
they have to do, what the Chicago Sky have to do,
Yeah.
is get a team.
They gotta be better, yes.
Because if they keep getting throttled by 35 and 40 points by the Fever, after it's going to really get one side.
I agree. I agree.
I do think that the rivalry is good for the league.
Yeah, it's
in
great.
terms of them two. Because again, it's not the two players' fault. You
No,
get what
no,
I'm saying?
no.
All they did was just go out and play ball.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? The shit around it. You know
Of
what I
course.
mean? Like we're not talking about I guess.
But imagine social
I get it
media.
because nobody was talking about
Correct.
it before. I get it.
Imagine
but it's just like-
social media when Bird and Magic came in. You would have seen, because Boston is a historically racist
it would
city.
have been. Oh,
I don't
I'm
think
pretty
I'm
sure-
breaking any news.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it would have been
If
probably worse.
Yeah, if they had a platform to go out and espouse whatever negative ideas they had, it would have been something similar to what we see now. But I even think the factionalization, like people taking sides, like there's an Angel Reese camp, there's a Caitlin Clark camp, that is all good for the league. And my father and my mother, when I was a little boy, we used to belong to the backcourt club for the Detroit Pistons. And I remember my father, he famously tells me a story, and this was sometime in the late 80s, I want to say. When the Pistons were just starting to get good, but they had the rivalry with the Bulls. He said, the Backcourt Club, they took a trip to watch a game at Old Chicago Stadium. And then, it was a group of Pistons fans. And when they got there, of course, the people around, they were fairly pleasant. They saw all of the people in the Pistons gear and, they were exchanging pleasantries. But as the game got heated, I think Mahorn or somebody threw an elbow at somebody.
Sounds about right.
And one of the people in the section, one of the Chicago Bulls fans in the section stood up and announced, the honeymoon is over. And things got a lot more tense between the fan bases at that time. But, my dad said, Chicago did squeak out the victory. He was like, we might not have got out of there alive.
Right. I mean, yeah.
But my point of giving that anecdote is that that's the kind of rivalry and the kind of bloodlust that has to exist between factions and fan bases in order for a sport to rise in popularity. And while I don't like, you alluded to it, I don't like the personal attacks on either of them, particularly on Angel Reese, because I'm a little bit more in the Angel Reese camp, even though I do agree with you that as currently constituted, Caitlin Clark is a better, more complete player. I don't like to see Angel personally attacked, nor do I like to see Caitlin personally attacked. But the personal attacks do indicate a passion from the fan base that we have not seen with the WNBA before. So I'm like, the worst thing that could happen to the WNBA is Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese becoming friendly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'm like, no, you want them at each other's throats.
I agree.
You want them to have a distaste for one another. You don't want anything dirty to happen, but you want them to have a distaste for each other, where, one is seemingly a little bit further behind the other one, but hopefully that will encourage Angel Reese to work on her game.
They both better figure it out before Juju Watkins' knee gets better, and then she hits the league, because she's going to be a problem for everybody.
Yeah, Juju is coming, but yeah. So those are my thoughts. I'm actually in a way happy that the rivalry is as intense as it is. There's as much passion on both sides as there is, and I think that that's going to portend good things for the WNBA going forward. So we go keep our eyes on that story.
Yeah,
and shout out to both of those young ladies. Keep doing y'all's things. Keep getting better, man. And hopefully we can be watching y'all in the WNBA final, sometime in the not too distant future.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I think Liberty might have a little something to say
well,
about
yeah,
that.
I mean, listen, yeah.
But yeah, no, yeah, we definitely, it should only get better from here as they improve.
Yep. Let's switch gears. I want to briefly talk about the Shedeur Sanders situation. A John Doe, in case you didn't know, because I was unaware, a John Doe filed a lawsuit in federal court, seemingly on behalf of Shedeur Sanders, charging the NFL with collusion.
Really?
This was done on May 1st, yes.
And you said John Doe?
It's a John Doe. And then on May 16th, they filed a motion to subpoena the emails, phone records, text message records of all of the NFL owners.
Is John Doe Deion Sanders?
I don't know. Well, it's a John Doe. So, but he's suing for $100 million because he's saying that the NFL colluded, and I guess he's just doing it as like supposedly he's just doing this as a John Doe.
Oh man, this got tinfoil kufi.
Oh yeah, listen, man, I got all kinds of conspiracies. Man. I'm just trying not to.
Is it Colin Kaepernick?
Right. Yeah. Who is it? Right. Like who is the John Doe?
Yeah. Was it who is Johnny? Was that Elder Barr?
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'm not going to try to sing that, by the way. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Supposedly with this, I subsequently read a headline talking about, even though Shedeur was looking the best in minicamp, they're saying that in OTAs, he's going to take third team reps with Joe Flacco, and they're supposedly now behind Kenny Pickett and Taylor Gabriel.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah, so I'm like the sabotage, I think, is in direct response to this federal lawsuit that's been filed
Yeah.
because, like, you know, like many of us, they don't believe it's just some random John Doe.
Hey man, John Doe, keep doing your thing, baby. Let's get them emails out. I
Yeah.
want to see it.
Oh, I do too.
And don't settle. Do not. Hey, John Doe, whatever you do,
I'm
don't
chomping.
settle. Do not settle. We want all the dirt. We want it all. I want
Yeah.
all the emails, all the phone calls, all of it.
But I'm telling you, he gonna get the 100 million. Whoever John
Dog,
Doe is,
tell him 100 million ain't enough. No.
because he's suing for 100.
No.
They gonna bring him to the
Tell
table
him
and
you
give him a
want
big
Black
check.
Wall Street get back money. Like, nah, no, you ain't got my attention unless we talking $250 million. Because what they made in profits last year, the NFL, what, $9 billion
I mean,
or
yeah,
something stupid
yeah.
like that.
They lose 100 million in the couch cushions, bro.
Nope. Don't
that's
settle,
chump
John
change.
Doe.
They sell a few hot dogs and some hamburgers, man, and make 100
Yeah,
million.
dog. Don't settle,
Like
John
that's
Doe.
concession stand money, boss.
I think that's righteous.
Yeah, no, that's what's up. I liked it myself, but I'll take your thoughts on just the whole. Do you think the Shador being dropped down on the depth chart is a response to that?
Man, I think that anything to stymie Shador doing anything of the like extra that happened at Colorado, they would try to do.
Yeah.
Because they know as soon as he set it off,
Yep.
he gonna set it all the way off. And
I agree.
they don't want no parts of it.
No.
Like they don't. They want it on their terms.
Yep.
And it's either, he's gonna push through and become undeniable,
Mm-hmm.
or, they'll, win over and break them.
Yep.
And I don't see that happen.
I don't either.
And,
I think he's gonna do great.
and it'll be to the detriment of the Cleveland Browns, because they can't afford to strike out at quarterback. Y'all still paying
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Rubdown,
Right.
So don't be stupid. Like don't cut off your nose to spite your face.
Right.
Is what I'm saying. He's in there now. I think they just gave him a 4-year, $4.6 million
Yeah.
deal. So he's gonna be at camp.
Yeah.
So if he's truly proving that he's the best quarterback and the best option for you to win games, because hopefully they get back at a healthy, fully healthy Chubb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
that'll make a world of difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because he was the best. I won't say the best, but he was top 3.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Nick Chubb when he was playing.
A rock toter. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
in terms of like straight turnaround, give it to him, and give him a seam and he'll go. So if he's truly the best option, let him play and just cut the bullshit.
Yeah.
That's my thing about that. But to John Doe, ride it out, John Doe. Don't settle. That's my ultimate thought. Don't settle.
And just to finish out the Shador Sanders conversation, because I did put this up on social media, that the Shador Sanders situation is a study in, jealousy masked as skepticism. I'm seeing a lot of that.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of that around the time, everybody explaining why he's falling in the draft, and that's a lot of jealousy, man. And
Maybe might not.
yeah, and I'm like, because like you pointed it out, all 23 mock drafts, nobody had him falling outside of the first round. So everybody didn't get it wrong, and now a couple of people who watched some film, they got it right. No, the skepticism is rooted in jealousy, because he came in a rich kid from a rich family. He was talking a particular way that, again, a certain type of individual, we'll say a certain type of white man, he don't like to hear a young black man talking like that. They like a rags to riches story. They like somebody.
Jason, are you talking about nepotism?
Yeah, but no, because he earned it. This is not a
But
situation.
that's the spin that they were trying to
Yeah,
spin.
this is not the
They were
situation.
calling him a Nepo baby. You know
Yeah.
how many Nepo tweet comments that were going out about Shador Sanders? I'm like, dude, he won everywhere he went.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like that, but that's nonsense. That
Crazy talk.
yeah, 37 touchdowns against 9 interceptions his senior
But he
season.
put Jackson State on the map.
Yeah, I mean that's absurd. He's not a nepo baby. He not. This is not like other situations where dad got to put the arm on the organization to get him drafted. No, none of that is what took place. But again, in our own lives, though, you got to watch out for that jealousy masked as skepticism.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how you gonna do that? You gonna do something that nobody that I know has ever done? How's that gonna happen? What you mean? You got a plan B.
I don't
You
know
got a
about
fallback
that.
plan. You're right. Yeah, I don't know about that. That don't sound safe to me. Well,
What's
nobody
gonna happen if?
yeah, well, nobody invited you into the endeavor. That's why.
Well, what you gonna do when?
Yeah, look, I'll figure it out. And see, that's the overarching point is that you got to watch people because I mean, some people will be genuinely curious if you embarking on something new, but there's a lot of times that is jealousy masking itself as just being cynical. I'm just being skeptical. You know, I'm trying to question out what you're doing. No, you trying to discourage me. And that's exactly what they did to Shador
Yep.
by dropping him to the 5th round. They were attempting to discourage him.
Yep.
That was not that wasn't done in good faith because people just didn't believe that he couldn't play. People believed that he was incapable of playing quarterback in the NFL. That was done strictly to discourage him.
Yep.
And that's what the lawsuit is going to prove. Man,
I
listen,
can't wait to see.
he
If they
filed the
I just want the
motion.
emails to get out.
Man, I'm telling you, they're gonna bring him to the settlement table.
I-
They are not
need
going
to
to
see
let those emails come out.
I need to see the email.
I told-
Because see, they let them off the hook with the Kaepernick thing with the emails.
What did
right
I
when they
tell
got
you?
right when they got to that part, they
I
was
said if somebody file a lawsuit, it won't make it to discovery.
like, see, now I'm mad we didn't do it.
I'm banking that it's not even going to discovery. They're gonna bring them to the settlement table and say,
Jason,
here.
if you're John Doe, bleak into the camera twice.
I'm not, man. Listen, I wish I was. Cause John Doe about to get a 10-figure check, man. That's happening.
We should have did that.
Yeah, we
Now I
should
feel
have.
like, back when, what was that, about 10 years ago when everybody was buying those damn fidget spinners.
Yeah.
I was like, how did I not think of that?
So yeah, but y'all watch out for that. Watch out for that jealousy.
I'm gonna be
masked
all over that.
skepticism.
I'm gonna be all over
And yes,
that.
we watching the Shador situation. We'll continue to give updates as they present themselves.
Go John Doe.
Let's get into a little bit of NFL, NBA playoff talk.
Yeah, man.
We saw we saw Game 7 over the weekend. It wasn't very competitive.
Yeah, it was titled Game
Yeah,
7.
Yeah, OKC throttled the Nuggets. And also we saw on Friday night, the Knicks went ahead and advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals. So now the conference finals is set. We got OKC in Minnesota. In the West, we got the Knicks and the Pacers in the East. Give me your predictions. Where you at? Where you at on each series? Who you expecting to meet up in the NBA Finals?
Oh, man. I think out West, I like the Oklahoma City Thunder, man. I've been rolling with them all year.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not going to hop off the train now.
I concur.
I love Ant Edwards. I do. I just think that OKC just have a plethora of defenders that they can throw at them just to kind of frustrate them
I agree.
and to just not make it easy. I mean, whenever like you can like throw Alex Caruso at somebody just to mess with them,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, or make him a primary defender on him. Like you can kind of you're that deep.
Yeah.
You know, you can either you can go Wallace, Wiggins, Joe, Williams.
Yep. Yeah.
Shea can spend time on him with his length. Chet can spend some time on him with his length. Maybe take a few steps back, close out on something. So I think they got a lot of bodies that they can throw at Ant.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a huge factor. I don't see it going more than 6.
Yep. That's what I see. I got OKC in 6.
Because
My prediction.
the like even against the Warriors, I mean, with no Steph, like they were kind of playing with their food a little bit with
Yep.
the Warriors. So,
Yeah, that won't work in this series.
so yeah, I like OKC at the most 6. In the East, I think it's going to be maybe a lot more of last year, a repeat of last year's series between the two. I think it's going to
Win
be
7.
a knockdown, drag out. Um, I think it can go 7, but I think a lot of that depends on another Winter Soldier and Carl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, he's been playing remarkably well.
Yeah, but
So
I
I gotta
penciled.
say,
He has, and I penciled in that matchup with him and Lego Kid,
you talking about
Miles Turner.
Miles Turner, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Similar style of play.
Yep.
They both can shoot it. I think Miles Turner is shooting like 50% from 3
Oh yeah,
in the playoffs.
yeah. He cooking.
Towns hits the glass harder.
He does
Than Turner.
But
But Turner protects the rim better, which is
he does.
which
He's a
is the
good
give and
shot
take
blocker.
you get with him. Like he's going after shots as opposed to loose balls and rebounds.
Yeah.
So I think that matchup can maybe decide a game or two.
Mm-hmm.
And then where that kind of washes out, I think can kind of swing it for either team.
Yeah.
Whereas I think you're kind of more bullish on Indiana, which
Yeah,
I
I am.
see because Indiana's one of those teams. Like Indiana can end the game in the first quarter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm aware of that. But then that's where I'm thinking, again, what cat's going to show up?
Mm-hmm.
What Mikal Bridges is going to show up?
Mm-hmm.
So, but ultimately, if you're asking me who's pulling it out, I like Indiana in 7,
Mm-hmm.
and I like a track meet final between OKC and the Pacers.
Yeah, that's gonna be one for the ages.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got Pacers in 5,
Gentlemen sweep.
OKC in 6.
Why do you feel 5 games?
5 games because of the pace that the Pacers play. No pun intended. They play very fast, and Tom Thibodeau plays a very strict 7-man rotation. They're gonna get tired. It's not going to be the other way around this series like it was last series. Last series, they tired the Knicks, tired out Boston. And then walked them down at the end of every game, no matter what kind of lead Boston had. That will not happen.
And
against
Boston
Indiana.
has the Stay Puff Marshmallow Man and Kristaps Porzingis
Well,
in the
yeah.
middle too.
That
But,
too. Yeah, I mean,
but they did.
They have a
warmed down.
culture of inconsistency in Boston, and I'm not gonna get on Boston too much right now because I do want to focus on the previewing.
We'll nuke them in the offseason.
Yeah, right. I want to preview these finals, but these conference finals, I should say. I just think that the pace that Indiana plays and the amount of wear and tear that is on the Knicks right now, Mikal Bridges has played 48 minutes multiple times in these playoffs.
Yep. And it ain't stopping no time soon.
No, and the Pacers play fast.
Right.
In order to beat the Pacers, you got to bring 115 points and good defense.
But to your point, though, and I agree. I mean, all your points have been proven.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying. But do you think there's a point where some toughness kicks in, where, there's a reason Tom Thibodeau goes 7 deep? And, he knows that these guys are built for it. And not to say that it will work, because it hasn't thus far.
Right.
But I'm saying in terms of them getting past 5 games.
No.
I just think 5 games.
I can't. Listen, it could. I could be wrong, but my thought is Indiana plays so fast, and their offense can be nuclear at times. And New York they've played a lot of minutes so far. They play a shortened rotation, and my thinking is that with the pace that Indiana plays, the rest that Indiana has had, the amount of minutes that all of the New York Knicks have played, that's going to be a perfect storm. And then nobody has taken them beyond 5 games in these playoffs.
I agree.
And the only games that they lost, the 2 games they lost, the team scored over 120 points both times.
Yeah.
The Knicks they ain't averaging nowhere near 120 points. So even if Indiana has a slow night and scores 110, let's say, because they're putting up 115 points, they bring in 115 points with them every game. So that means that you're going to have at least 115 points, and you're going to have to play some defense. You're going to have to get some stops down the stretch. And that's what teams have not been able to do against them
But again,
because the pace they play.
But this is why you got OG and you got Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, but I'm saying those are two guys that he's running them over 40 minutes. I mean,
I mean, right.
Fatigue is going to.
But I mean, again,
in.
this is what Tibbs does, so I think they kind of know that this is what's coming, and I think it's just a certain point where these guys is like, strap up, we going 40.
Sure.
It's and again, back to our earlier conversation, Caitlin, Angel. These two teams hate each other. And I think that, there's a certain element that adds, maybe it just kind of adds to the, of course, to the competitive fervor of the matchup. But I mean, I think when the person that you hate is on the other side, you're not worried about 40 minutes.
I mean, but the body. I don't care what you worried about.
So you think some hammies about to start
yeah,
popping?
Like only the body. Listen, man. We know it at our age, man. Your mind can tell the body what to do, and the body cannot cooperate. And again, I know that they're very good athletes. They're primed athletes and everything. But I'm telling you that the cumulative effect.
So you said the annual Tibbs team physical breakdown is coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is I was just getting ready to go there. And this is also that's on brand for his teams. His teams always break down.
The annual.
In game 7 of the Pacers series last year, Jalen Brunson broke his hand. I mean, like they have been remarkably healthy, and I'm not trying to predict injuries. I hope both teams remain healthy and they can play whole because that is the X factor. Injuries is the X factor. If a key player is injured, then that changes the prediction.
The Golden State Warriors.
Correct. Yeah, and the Boston Celtics. I mean, to a lesser extent, even though Boston was kind of getting handled.
Yeah,
with
they were in the middle of sharding.
Yeah, but even still, like he was having a great game when he ruptured his Achilles, and who knows if that was going to,
because that injury could have went the other way.
Correct.
New York's way.
That's the thing. So. I just see the Pacers in a short series, man. Like the Pacers have throttled Milwaukee. They have throttled Cleveland, the team with the second best record in the NBA, 64 wins. And it was because Cleveland, who was a lot better constituted.
Can we talk about them next?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Who was a lot better constituted to compete with Indiana. Indiana, they walked over them. I'm like, I mean, at some point, we got to start believing what we seeing.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning of these playoffs, nobody would have told you that the New York Knicks is better than the Cleveland Cavaliers.
No.
And they just blasted the Cleveland Cavaliers in 5 games.
But the Cleveland Cavaliers may have some problems that we may have just been ignoring or may have not just been paying that close attention to during the regular season.
Yeah, no, that's a conversation.
Because they had some glaringly bad losses.
Yes.
I mean, like, whoa. Mm-hmm. I mean, fourth quarter meltdowns galore.
Yes.
Double digit, lead, losses.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, and Coach of the Year.
Right. No, listen.
Kenny Atkinson's Coach of the Year.
Man, listen. Nothing gave me greater joy than watching him get manhandled like that after they snubbed J.B. Bickerstaff for Coach of the Year.
Real rap.
Nothing did my heart better. I love to see it, baby. I love it. I love to see it.
And then Donovan Mitchell. Oh, and I know you guys are gonna write shit. They should.
Yeah, well, they writers, so
because dude, you ain't got out of the second round of the playoffs yet.
Yeah.
And bruh,
and I'm not saying it was because of him.
Listen, but you know what? A lot of them fourth quarter meltdowns, them last 2 minutes, he was nowhere to be found.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
I mean, and he's good. Donovan Mitchell, great player.
he is. He's
But
fantastic.
hey, man, his career's starting to get a little long in the tooth.
But I'm gonna say this too. At some point, we're gonna have to give the Pacers credit
Yeah, for
for
sure.
walking down
For
all
sure.
of these big league. Their offense is nuclear at times, and the thing about it, and the thing about them that makes them a puzzle is that they don't have that one guy that you like, oh, well,
Right.
he can drop 35 or
Right.
40 points. We just need to stop him. That's another element that they bring
Right, for sure.
where you load up on Tatum, you load up on Brown. That's why they got the great perimeter defenders in Michael Bridges and OG Anunoby, because
Right.
they built themselves to beat Boston.
Right.
They
did.
didn't build themselves to beat the Pacers.
They built themselves to compete with Boston and defend off Philly.
Correct.
Yeah.
But the Pacers, that's what makes because all these teams built themselves to beat Boston, Milwaukee and Cleveland included.
Yep.
They didn't build themselves to fend off the Pacers, who play a fast pace and they spread the ball around. And Siakam might give you 20 tonight, and Miles Turner might give you 15, and Aaron Neesmith might give you 15. See, that
Ben
is a team.
Mathurin
Yep.
and all those guys, Nimhard.
And to a lesser extent, that's also what makes OKC difficult to deal with, because
sure.
they have ancillary players who can, because Shea, you can pencil him in for 30, and then Jalen Williams might give you 20.
Yeah.
Chet Holmgren might give you 20.
Yeah.
Alex Caruso might dump in 10. Wallace and Wiggins might come off the bench. They might give you 7 or 8. And then Joe might hit you for 10. See, when you can't just load up on one guy and say, okay, this is the guy that we need to stop. When you can't do that, that makes the team a lot more difficult, because Halliburton doesn't come out looking for his shot every game.
No.
He comes out he's probably the best distributor in the game.
He sets the table.
Yeah, so he's setting the table for all of these pieces. And again, this is why I'm like, as much as I like the Knicks, and as great of a story as it would be for them to get back to the finals, and by the way, the NBA is going to want that.
Yeah.
By the way, they're going to want that large market
Yeah, I'm about to
team.
say, be on the lookout for the zebras in
Yeah, I
that
was gonna
series.
say,
There's going to be a lot of bullshit going down with the whistles.
Yes,
Please believe that.
they're going to
I'm
want
telling you that now.
the large market team in the finals. They do not want to OKC Indiana Pacers.
I agree. I mean, I agree with a lot of your points on the Pacers, and we should give them credit. But I do want to rate Kenny Atkinson over the coals a little bit more, because I mean, you had
Shout out to the Pacers for that as well.
Because I mean, you had the Defensive Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
You had Jared Allen backing up the Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh,
and you've got an All-NBA performer in Donovan Mitchell and an All-Star in Darius Garland, and you got your asses kicked.
Yeah, you got them handed to you. Oh, yeah.
In embarrassing fashion, and that should not go unnoticed.
No, it shouldn't.
Your main superstar got the real Coach of the Year fired.
Yeah, yeah. Right.
Because as soon as he got fired, he signed a new contract extension. Because remember, they were talking about Donovan Mitchell maybe going to the Knicks.
Yeah, because there was always rumblings.
Before they got Mikal Bridges. There
was always rumblings that him and Garland didn't get along.
Right. And that was the smoke screen. I guess it was really the JB factor.
I agree.
Well, thanks, Cleveland.
Yeah,
we
we
appreciate
appreciate
it. We will enjoy JB Bickerstaff, and we will also enjoy you continuing to pump fake your fans. All right, I'm sorry.
No, that's good. I like that. Man, let's deal with these Paul George comments.
Oh
man.
God, that's the gift that keeps on giving.
Because what did he say? He's the season is too long, right? That was his one. That it shouldn't be an 82 game season.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, listen, players. Let me talk to y'all for a minute before we get into the nitty gritty. Let's deal with that. Some of y'all are making upwards of $60 million a year. They ain't shortening the season. Where do you think that money comes from? It comes from the gates. It comes from the television contracts, which are based on an 82-game season. They are not going to janky up that algorithm because you got bad ankles and calves. They're not going to do that. They'll replace you. So let's get that out the way now. There is too much money on the line for them to arbitrarily shorten the season. You see, the NFL is the most brutal sport in the history of mankind,
And they're
other
adding.
than other, right, other than the gladiators in the Colosseums, right, who were basically, they were basically just commissioned to die.
Right.
But and they're adding games. They like, where can we get some more
Right.
gates and some more money and some more TV dollars? Forget about it.
The Black Friday Bowl.
Yeah, right.
They like, look, bro,
Yeah.
we getting as much football
Yeah,
as possible.
Christmas Day, they coming on. That Christmas Day was always for the NBA. The NFL said, yeah, scooch over.
Beyonce, shake that ass, girl.
Right.
NFL on Christmas. We
Scooch
here.
over. Y'all scooch over, man. We gonna throw a larger game in here. So yeah, I'm like, they're attempting to add games and add that because the formula for profit and the formula for for the salary cap and these aprons that they keep telling you about, that's all based upon an 82 game season. They're not going to change that because your calves hurt or your back hurts.
Right.
And y'all already low managing. Ain't none of y'all playing 82 games anyway. I mean, can we get real? Who's playing 82 games other than Michael Bridges, who done played like
Right.
700 games
That's
in a row,
right.
whatever?
That's it.
Yeah, like one guy in the whole league is reliably playing 82 games a year. Let me say it that way. I'm sure that there are more, but he's reliably available for 82 games a year, and he plays heavy minutes. Most of y'all taking nights off
I was
anyway.
about to say, who I want to know, and you know what? We may do that as like, the season kind of winds down and we have that lull between the end of the finals and the start of NFL training camp.
Yeah,
But we do little dumb fact finding shit like how many players in the NBA last year played 75 games?
yeah.
You know
right.
what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
75, not even 82. How many played 75?
And by the way, if you're wondering, we will also we will have an Everybody Has One awards ceremony and awards show for the people who we think deserve to be All NBA, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. We're gonna have our own,
Yeah.
and at times it may differ.
We're gonna have the all straight butt team too.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, we go. So be ready, though. If you're out there stinking it up, we gonna handle that. But yeah, but let's deal with these Paul George comments, man. 82 game season is too much. Retire.
Yeah, man.
But go ahead, man. I'll take your thoughts on it.
I mean, what do you expect from the man who dubs himself Playoff P and had some of the more embarrassing playoff moments that we've seen in the
Playoff.
last handful of years?
playoff urine.
Yeah.
That's what I like to call him. Playoff urine, not pee.
So that P.
Right, that kind of pee.
Playoff PEE. And it's just, and then what was the other, man, in Indiana, I mean, if it wasn't for LeBron, we might have,
Did what?
like, you'd have found a way.
Right, yeah. You
You'd
might
have, you'd have
y'all
found
might
a
have
way.
did what?
You'd have got past LeBron, got to the next round, and got your ass whooped thinking about how you beat LeBron, and still
Because-
been geeked on that and blew it. Like
because
this dude,
who was waiting? Was it the Warriors that was waiting?
if they would have beat, let's see, in Indiana, yeah,
It was at 15?
Yeah.
Yeah, then what?
Yeah.
That's what I was waiting for him to finish the sentence.
Yeah.
Then you would have got pounded out
well,
by the
they
Warriors.
went. It was 14 and 15, so 14 it would have been the Spurs.
Yeah.
And that would have been worse.
And,
yeah,
yeah,
that would have been worse because
Right.
what they did to that Miami team
I know
was just
that's it's
sacrificial.
the worst differential in
That
NBA
was-
Finals
yeah,
history.
That was a bludgeoning.
Yeah, they just hammered this. So I'm like,
So-
if it wasn't for LeBron, what? That's
Yeah,
what I'm trying to
like,
figure out.
You
What would
still
have happened?
would be ringless.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Today.
you'd have got to the
I know.
finals and got throttled. That's what would have happened.
And it's like he's like saying this stuff like it's like some provocative shit. Like, you know what? He right? Nah, bro.
No, he's not right.
No.
Yeah, it was the paddle waiting for him in the finals both years.
And
Like,
Daryl Morey wants all his money back right now. Good God, this dude robbing Philly
listen.
as we speak.
listen, man, the thing, in my opinion, that Paul George will always be remembered for, particularly as this player ascends, is that they traded Paul George for Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yep.
That the soon to be league MVP.
Yep.
They traded him for. I mean, I know that if they could do that all over again, for the Clippers to do what? Would they win one playoff
and
series?
don't
in the
get
whole
Paul
time?
George had a window where he was like that.
He was
Like he had a window where he was like, which is
he
why,
Brandon Williams go.
which I mean he's had some Winter Soldier-esque moments.
Oh man, yeah.
He's had some Winter Soldier-esque moments. He's had some playoff, but he's had some
Or Brandon
playoff.
Miller, I should say.
He's had some playoff disappearances too, though.
Remember when
Like,
Brandon Miller said that Paul George was his GOAT?
you know what? A lot of players say that.
Yeah.
A lot of players, they love, because he's the, if you're, because what the league, the NBA has, leaned towards the past few years, like we talked about, 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" guys
Yeah.
that can play the
two-way.
2, 3, 4,
Mhm.
post out to the baseline. They can play from the dunker
Yeah.
spot out to the baseline or to the elbow.
Mhm.
A handle package.
Yeah.
Like your Tatum kind of comes from the Paul
Correct.
George tree.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Athletic wings.
Right. So, I mean, I get it how like a younger player, if they first started watching basketball in like 2018, 2019, and they saw Paul George, I can see where they would be like,
Yeah.
that's my guy.
No, I mean because
can see.
Paul George did have some nights
No, I mean,
where you was like,
he was, I want to
that
say,
dude is a beast.
I want to say, what was he, fourth in MVP voting in 2019?
That's possible. Yeah, that's possible.
I mean, that was a hell of a season for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was a high level two-way player,
Yeah.
which is still the dumbest term in sports. It's like, I mean, should you be getting paid to play if you don't play both sides of the ball? But I mean, I digress.
Oh, yeah.
But Paul George, hey, bro, it seems like you want to do this full time, so just come on in, man. They'll still pay you.
Yeah, no doubt.
Philly will, because they got to, but just like stop playing.
Let's hit some rapid fire, man, because we coming down to it.
Let's do it.
I saw a AI simulation of Michael Jordan playing in the modern era.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Long story short, the AI simulation said that he would average 35 points, he would average 6 or 7 boards, and 5 or 6 assists on 52% shooting from the field and 38% shooting from 3.
Oh, so basically like Michael Jordan from 86, 87, 88.
And that he would be the league MVP. He'd be the odds-on favorite for league MVP most every year because of, how the floor is spread, how much room he would have. There's, a handful of great shot blockers in the NBA right now. So, nothing like when he was playing, when most of the guys that are top 10 in shot blocking played the majority of their years in his era.
Yes.
But I was just wondering if you had seen that.
I did not.
And what are your thoughts? I'll send it to you. But yeah, so they put him in an AI simulator for all of the people talking about Jordan couldn't play today. I'm like, man, Jordan would be more dominant today than he was back then because there was no such thing as defensive 3 seconds, and centers had no reason to be out near the 3-point line. So they basically allowed their man to stand near the basket to be a rim protector. That's why most of the top 10 shot blockers played most of their career under those rules.
Yeah, I just, to your point, duh. But I just find it funny that a lot of those like younger people that you speak of, and not all, but some, they say Michael Jordan couldn't play in today's NBA, but they swear that he's the father of their favorite player, Anthony Edwards.
Of course.
So I fear that.
Also, another rapid fire topic. I don't know if you saw Draymond Green and
Oh God, what do you do now?
and Baron Davis talking on the podcast. He was basically saying that the older generation of players doesn't respect the new generation of players. And I found that to be a bit of projection. Number one, it's these players in this fan base who basically go around marginalizing all of the guys from the previous era. There's a whole "we done with the 80s and we done with the 90s"
Right.
hashtag on social media.
Right.
I'm like, That seems to be the other way around. LeBron talking about Giannis would score 250 points in a game in the 70s, when there was no such thing as a flagrant foul. And I'm like, where is he going to score them at? Because it was a lot of great bigs in the 70s, including Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the greatest big of all time. That was his decade.
Bro, if you couldn't shoot, you couldn't play back then, period.
Yeah.
You couldn't shoot, you couldn't play.
Yeah.
That's the end.
But so I'm like, that sounds like a bit of projection to me, but I'll take your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, if we teleport Sean Kemp in 1992 to the NBA today, what are we looking at?
I mean, somebody that's just owning the paint. I mean, because again, there's no shot blocking, so
Right.
his athleticism, like he wouldn't even need to pop the 15-footer.
Which he could do at a high clip.
Correct, but I'm just like he wouldn't even need to pop the
high
mid-range.
70% foul shooter.
Yeah, like he would just be around the basket, just having his way.
Right.
Because that's kind of what long athletic players do now.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like long athletic players have their way around the basket. That's what they do.
My point is like the conversation is so tired because it only happens really with basketball.
Yeah.
Every now and then with football, you know what I mean? Which I think is really more egregious to do with football because the style of play is drastically different.
It is.
From a physicality standpoint.
And furthermore,
yeah, go ahead.
Let me say, because I just want to piggyback on that point before you move on. Furthermore, every rule change in the NBA over the past 3 decades has been to benefit the offense. That is not the situation in football.
Right.
There have been some rule changes to benefit offense, but there's also been rule changes to benefit defense as well. You can be a little bit more physical. You can be a little bit more handsy. Now, yeah, of course, some of the hitting across the middle and all of that. But every rule change, you can't think of one rule change in the NBA that has been to benefit defenders.
No.
Everything from, the most recent rules like reckless closeout. You can't even close out directly to a player anymore. You have to veer one way or the other.
Yeah.
Or you could recklessly close out and get a flagrant foul. I mean, I could just go on and on. It started with the block charge.
Was it Jaja Pachulia?
Yeah. Well, he stepped under Kawhi. Yeah. And that's where the whole reckless closeout rule came from. And I'm not saying that it's not a beneficial rule for some reasons.
Man, that shit been happening since they've been playing basketball. Somebody shooting Jays and they busting your ass. You're gonna figure out a way to stop them from busting your ass if your defense ain't working.
Yeah,
that has been happening since. Now it officiated. Yeah. Now what should have happened was when that happened X years ago, the player that did it, gets a ridiculous fine, or a suspended den, and then you let it, permeate across the league that we're calling that and we're officiating that heavy,
right?
As opposed to just kind of making it what I call these highlight rules.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah.
And same thing with freedom of movement that they implemented in 2015. That's really the big one. I'm like, first of all, Michael Jordan in the freedom of movement era, forget about it. The dude, he doing whatever he want because now you can't really wall up away from the ball.
Right.
You can only wall up on the ball.
Right.
So the freedom of movement that was implemented in 2015, where essentially off the ball defense can't be physical.
Right.
I'm not gonna say you can't play it, but it can't be physical. You can't really stop a guy from moving all around. And like for a guy like Steph Curry, somebody who moves a lot without the basketball, that was the one benefit that you had, is that you could get physical with him before he gets the ball. The whole do your work early on defense. But I don't want to make this an entire tactical, conversation.
No, but you're right. I mean, and like I said, it always, it's so heavy when it's the basketball conversation. I don't understand it. It is crazy to me. But again, like you take a guy like a Kemp, or like imagine Isaiah Thomas if he could like palm the ball.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like, remember you couldn't dribble like this.
Right.
It was a turnover.
Yeah, I know.
Like every time.
Call palming.
And it's like now. So now you take a guy has fundamental handles, where fingertips, hand on top of the ball. but can still do, all the between the figure eights, machine gun, 5-star, dribble formations, skills, drills, you name it, he does it. But you tell them, all right, now you can kind of bend the rules.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
now you can cradle a little bit.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Imagine what they'll do.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Isaiah, because that's actually one of the rapid fire topics. I didn't put it in the notes, but
Oh, okay.
but that segues beautifully into, and we can close on this one.
The lob.
Isaiah Thomas versus John Stockton, and we gonna get into more of these over the summer.
Because we got a request, by the way.
Oh, okay, that's what's up.
From my man Sean. What up, Nelly?
Yeah, I got you. Isaiah versus John Stockton. Now, because I get presented with this question all the time, and my answer is always, well, the careers overlapped, so we don't really have to guess. Isaiah used to manhandle.
Yeah, what's the conversation?
John Stockton, yeah, like like who was better, who had the better overall career, and I'm like, I actually think that is a conversation, but who was better between the two? We have film. The reason that Karl Malone elbowed Isaiah in the eye is because the previous game Isaiah gave John Stockton a 40-piece with no sides.
Yeah, nah. The better matchup.
And he was on his way to giving him another 40-piece with no sides. That's why Karl Malone jumped up and elbowed him over the eye and opened up a wound that needed 40 stitches. So, we got film.
Yeah, the better matchup is Isaiah versus Mark Price.
Yeah,
Mark Price used to give the Pistons problems.
They did. Yeah, they did.
With that Brad Daugherty, Trent Tucker, Craig Elo, Hot Rod
Williams.
Squad.
Yep, Hot Rod Williams.
Man, listen, Mark Price had a pull-up J that was nasty.
Yeah, indeed.
He had that little split dribble coming off the screen or right before to beat the double, and he could just stop on it. Mark Price was nice, and he was quick. He was quick. I think Stockton was stronger than Price. Stockton was a stronger guard. Stockton was physical.
Yeah.
Stockton liked to get physical, but Price was lightning quick. He was tough. I just think like injuries just kind of derailed him a little bit, and then they kind of were able to move into the Terrell Brandon era.
Yeah.
But it was like a little window. I want to say like 88, 89, 90, 91.
Yeah, he was first team All NBA, I think,
Man,
in the early 90s.
Mark Price,
once or twice.
him and Isaiah used to have some nice little battles.
Yeah, they did.
Man.
Yeah, they did.
We used to sun Cleveland because we were a better team.
We were. Yep.
But that matchup was always a good. I remember laying here, fapped up Brad Daugherty one game. But that was always a good back and forth matchup.
That was. Yep. I agree. And we can land on that, man. We left a lot of meat on the bone, man. There's still a lot of topics that we have to cover, but join us next time. So it'll be 2 weeks from this coming Thursday, man. We'll be back live. We're taking a little break, but stick with us. Keep hitting the social sites. Keep hitting the YouTube channel. Keep checking the timeline for updates. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification, and when you hit the bell notification, make sure you select all so you can get all the shorts, all the videos, all the live notifications, and get updated when we add anything to the timeline. And again, man, we'd like to tell you that we thank you for your continued support. Continue to holler at us, continue to engage with us on social media. We appreciate it.
Share, like, sub. Be safe this holiday weekend.
Indeed, man. Everybody has one podcast. Peace.